This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, but before we jump into the main topic, because I don't have too much time, I just wanted to bring this up in case you're watching and you're like, what's up with your eye? Remember when we were in high school? I think it was high school. And do you remember when all the blood vessels in my face exploded?
Maybe.
Do you remember that time?
Sure.
All right, so you know how you remember like Marx Brothers was super into UFC, and then we didn't know what we were doing, so we'd always wrestle in like Walt's basement.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so he caught this like rear naked choke on me. I know what it is now, but as a kid, you don't know what it is. There's some sort of choke, but he didn't know how to finish it. So like he was like trying so hard to squeeze my head, whatever. And then like I could feel all the blood pooling. And then as soon as he like let go, he's like, "Oh, dude, look at your face."
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
Remember that? All the blood vessels in my face had exploded. So I was at jiu-jitsu yesterday, and this dude caught this isn't how I got the eye, but this dude first caught a cross collar choke on me, and I was like, "Oh, interesting! Like, how did it happen?" So I was watching it in stage, like I was kind of like, "Okay, let's let this happen again, so I could figure it out, like reverse engineer it, right?" But then when I escaped it, I could feel like the first time he caught me, and the second one, I was like, I could feel like an escape, but when I escaped it, I was like, "Oh crap! It happened again." I could feel like all the blood in my eyes had like exploded.
Oh shoot.
Okay. So yeah. So then that was one. And then this other dude, there's some like they call like jerk jujitsu. I don't really mind it because like whatever, if it works, it works. But there's two moves that like the success rate's not very high, but they're like bully moves. So either you do like a punch choke where you cover one side of the neck and then use your fist and you dig it in to the other side. So you're like trying to constrict both sides with like as much muscle as you can, right? You can do it like effectively, but it's a jerk move. Like it's literally your fist is like digging into into the dude's neck. So there's that one move, and then there's one called a smother choke. So it's happened to me twice. So this one guy, he just grabs you into your chest and he tries and like crushes your face. But like with the crushing, you can't breathe, right? So like you're hoping to like maybe cover the mouth, and then like that's why he'll tap, right? But I knew what he's doing, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move out of the way, so I'm not gonna let my mouth get covered. So instead of my mouth, it was my eye, and I could feel it like happening, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna tap to this because I'm like, technically it's not a choke, so it's like whatever, I'll just survive the round. And then I was like, okay, like I felt fine, right? So I go home, I'm like doing my own thing, and then I was like, oh, let me check on my face because I knew that maybe it had exploded. So it had exploded. So if you're like in super high D or like really close to me, you'll see like the blood vessels in my face had exploded from that cross collar, and the dude jamming his chest into my eye, like ruptured vessels in my eyeball. And I was like, oh my God. And then this morning it started to like spread towards my eye, and I was like, oh crap. But you know what? Remember Creed 3? That movie?
Where, I didn't watch it, but
when he fought his friend? Okay. So he fights his friend and he gets like beat up. And he takes off his sunglasses and his whole eye's red. And I was like, oh dude, that looks jacked up. But I'm like, okay, you survived, so it should be fine. Like, we're not gonna go blind. It's just, you know.
Right.
But
no, I don't. I think
hopefully we don't go blind.
I've seen, but this is done through pressure. But people's blood vessel in the eye have exploded before. Without really doing too much.
Blind?
No, they don't go blind. No.
Okay.
It just takes time for it to just heal. Without doing anything, it happens too. For some people, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, it's totally fine. When Tara saw it, she's like, wait, let me check that. And I was like, it's fine. It's all good. But it was awkward because I went to the mall after and I was just like trying to not look at people in the face.
Well, you're wearing glasses.
I know my eyes jacked up. I know, but like, yeah, true. I should have worn glasses. But yeah, it's so in case you're wondering why like it looks kind of red or like my eye looks weird in this video, that's why. Okay. Second thing, Apple definitely saved my life. Well, not saved my life. Well, yeah, creatively, yes. But so I haven't been sleeping well the past few days.
Okay.
And like this has been an ongoing trend, right? And I was always like, I'm pretty sure I have sleep apnea because I snore really loud, right? And then we were like, remember I was saying like in a couple of podcasts ago, I'm like, my blood pressure is my benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's out of whack, it's like I know I need to change something. So then Tara was saying like, oh, it's weird that your blood pressure like fluctuates so heavily, right? It's like it's never like stable, right? I'll go like 120, then I'll go up, then I'll go down, then I'll go up. And it's like, I'm playing this like weird game of like I have to be super healthy in order to keep it down, right? And then she's like, maybe you have sleep apnea. And then I'm like, I've been saying that for like the long because I snore, right?
Yeah.
But I had gotten the watch, like this Apple Watch specifically to track sleep, right? And it's funny because it warned me. It was like, it seems like you might have sleep apnea.
Oh, really?
But I was like, ignore. Yeah,
it was saying those specific words.
Yeah, no, it didn't like alert me, but it's like if you go in the health app, it's like under the sleep, it's like you might have sleep apnea. Right. Because it's like it's too low.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh yeah. Well, when she brought it up this morning, because like I'm not sleeping to recover. Like I'm always tired. It's weird, and that's like one of the signs of sleep apnea. So then she's like, "Oh, maybe you do. You should go get tested, right?" I'm like, "Well, I have this watch." Like, so I pulled it up, and then it was like 80. So you have to be 93. That's like the high, like the
normal,
like the safe zone. Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
And I was like at 83, 85, and she's like, "Oh, you have sleep apnea." So I'm like, I'm choking basically overnight, and that's why I don't sleep. I was like blaming it on like her movement or like Athena's movement. That's why I keep waking up.
Right.
But it's like, no, maybe you're just like not sleeping. So when we move, you're like, oh, I'm noticing it.
Right. You're not really in the full sleep. Right.
Yeah. So right. Yeah. So Apple totally did its thing. I was like this is the data I need. So I'm just gonna go get tested now.
You should send them a letter like when they put it on their next keynote.
I know, right? Like testimonials, right? Like make them feel good. But when I open the app, because it upgraded and it's like, do you want to share your health data? I'm like, you know what? I will share my health data. Good job. Good job for protecting me. Yeah. Because the other thing that like sparked this was the new Apple Watch is going to test.
These are the rumors
or something. And rumors. Oh, I thought they were real. Yeah. Because when I said it to you, I was like, oh,
this is way too early.
It's going to do blood pressure though.
They have. It might be some other metrics that they're looking at that can correlate to blood pressure, maybe.
Yeah, because it has to constrict. So I was like, how does it measure blood pressure without like the constriction?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, when you like do your blood pressure, like
yeah. There may be other kinds of technologies for it that gives you an idea, but not necessarily. Again, they'll always tell you to go see a doctor to confirm these sort of things.
But, yeah, totally. Right. Well, that's why I'm going to go to the sleep apnea. It's like I can't just. I mean,
of course, yeah. I don't think you can
just buy a machine.
It's always better to confirm what the actual thing is, even with any kind of technology. Even they would say that too, right? It's just not something you would.
True. Okay. Yeah. Fair. But it seems like it's good that we have these like tools to help us.
Well, that's but that's why those testimonials exist, right? That's why they like those.
Yeah. True.
And these are the
fair.
These are those people don't even know. Sometimes they have that. Was it the heart murmur or something like that? That people got caught. Yeah. People figured out based on wearing the watch. It's like, oh, so.
And that's why I'm like, we should really move towards being more like cybernetic or like cyborgs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to it. You know, if it really does make your like your vehicle better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like might as well just use. It's like why would you like not have a gauge on your car,
Right.
like a speedometer?
Yeah.
Why would you not have a speedometer? Just use the speedometer, bro. Like how fast are you going? Yeah.
I think it's overall it's good in the sense, but if more and more people do it, where wearing these things, they track your stuff, right? So you kind of know long term like what's actually affecting you, and you can show these results to your doctor and decide what to go based on that. Because sometimes you don't, like, you can't think of all the things you want to explain what's happening, right? Or you don't have the right words to, I don't know if it's from sleep. Maybe you feel like you're having good sleep, but it's something else, right?
So it's more like data inputs.
Yeah.
For them to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny because when I went to the naturopathic doctor, all right, well, in the interest of time, I'll kind of wrap this up because, but last thing, because I do want to talk about two really important things.
Sure.
But when I went to the naturopathic doctor, because I suddenly got like eczema, and I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like my body's never had it, right? And then when I was going to them, I'm like all cured now, but when I went to them, they were like, what are you eating? And I was like, oh yeah, let me just pull it up. And I was like, because I had my app, remember I was like tracking everything, and they're like, whoa. Even they were like, whoa, I've never had a patient like have so much data. You know what I mean? And then like they tested my blood pressure and like, oh, it's like abnormally high. I'm like, well, my heart rate is at 100. And then the guy was like, he was kind of like a spiritual in a way. Like he wasn't just like hard science. So he was like, yeah, the data is good, but your soul is crying. And I was like, damn, this guy said my soul's crying. So that's why I had to take off all my data for a bit. But then I was like, wait, just find the balance, bro. Just like don't overly obsess on it. But like, again, to the car example, you need a speedometer,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's just jump into aliens because I really want to talk to you about this, and it's my prevailing theory. I was messaging you guys about this, and you said something interesting about bipedal, and I'm like, okay, this would be a good discussion to have on the podcast. Okay, so I'll just refresh your memory because we talked about a bunch of things during the week. So I read this dude's book, Identified Flying Objects, because in the like UFO sphere, like, it's gaining in so much popularity. So now people are like, oh, this is a really good book to read. This is a really good book to read, right? So I'm just like picking up these books and like reading them. And okay, so there's so much evidence pointing towards them from being from the future. Okay, I don't actually think that they are extraterrestrial anymore, but they're more like what do you call it? Like transtemporal. So between time, temporal means time, trans like beyond, like you can go between between time.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that he said is if you look at the evolution of human beings on Earth, right? If you look at the evolution of anything, you could trace it, right? Like a wolf became a dog, and you could see the steps, right? So one thing he said was the bipedal nature of these aliens, like bipedal mean they walk on 2 feet, points to the fact that they most likely are us. That's one piece of evidence. Because if you look at other things in nature, not many things walk on 2 feet. And then you said, you're like, well, what about, who are the ones?
Well, like birds, I think I said kangaroos. There are some other ones that do have two feet.
Totally.
Yeah. Ostriches.
Okay. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I was like, that's a great point, But what they said, and then I like went back to read it more, is it's bipedal as a part of its like evolutionary it's like, how like we use walking to make other things, like freeze up our hands to like make things. Right. So it's like, yeah, those birds like fly and stuff, but like it wasn't a necessary component to their evolution, right? Because like we used to be monkeys, and unless you believe in like Jesus, but like we used to be monkeys, and then we came out of the trees and we started walking around, and then it freed us up. But they were like, why would becoming bipedal, become so pivotal in our evolution? You know what I'm saying? So like birds, they did do it, but they didn't evolve past that. Like becoming bipedal was essential for us.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, like
That
there
makes
are
sense.
monkeys too, right? There are monkeys that can do it too, right? So like,
Well, we
would it
run around
be?
hunts and then we
I
swim in
understand that, and
pools.
would it be our
It's like,
evolution, or would it be like it depends on how far in the future these things are, right?
yes, yes. We don't know how far in the future they are, but he's saying like if you look at the time, if you look at the evolution of all animals, it's like it kind of follows the same arc.
Sure.
Like you could see where it, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like you can actually see the evolutionary progress. So what he was saying is also if you look at evolution, it's very local to our environment, our gravity, our Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the chances that humanoid? Because remember that all these abduction stories are of human-looking aliens. Most of them, except there's one that like looks like a cat. No, looks like a praying mantis. There's one alien species that looks like praying mantis.
Okay.
Let's just assume that that one's like fictitious, okay? But most of them are about like human encounters. They look human,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So what are the chances that a planet evolved to be exactly like us?
Oh,
He's like basically none,
yeah.
right? Because it has to be so specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that one. And then the next thing is Drake's equation, which is basically a mathematical equation for the probability of life on other planets,
Yeah.
right? And then uh, Fermi's paradox. So if there is the probability of life on other planets, where are all the aliens? So Fermi he worked on the atom bomb, and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I'll get into that later, which is very interesting because he worked on the atom bomb, and they think the UFO lore is that the crash site for, where was that place? Um, Alamode? No, not Alamode. Uh,
I forgot now.
Los Alamos.
Oh,
Los
yeah, Los
Alamos.
Alamos. Yeah,
Los
yeah.
Alamos. Yep. So they think, because that's where Area 51 is, right? And they think that's where like a crashed spaceship was. So they built their base. This is what the UFO people believe, is that U.S. built their base in Los Alamos because that's where the crashes were. So like, well, we can hide crashes and we can hide nuclear bombs.
Mm-hmm.
We could work on the same stuff there. Okay. So um, going back to aliens, Fermi said like, where are all the aliens? And NASA also said that there's nothing there.
Right.
Elon Musk also said that there's nothing there. Like I'm literally in space all the time. I don't see any like signs of aliens.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not looking on Earth. They're looking outside of Earth.
Sure.
So there's no extraterrestrial life. Okay. The next thing is communication. All these abduction stories are about them like telepathically telling you something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, you'll be fine, or just sit there, something like that, right? How would they know the context of what a conversation is?
Okay.
Like how would you like you know what I mean? Like I can't be like to a dog or like a caterpillar. I don't
Sure.
have any
Yeah,
context for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a dog doesn't know what a TV is. I can't be like, hey, just chill at the TV, you know? Or like things that dogs do, I don't know. I don't have context because I'm not them.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Is this all making sense so far?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then evolution. Oh, so if you look at the domestication of all animals, so a wolf slowly becomes more docile, and then you get like Athena, a little dog,
Mm-hmm.
right? Humans are also on the same track. So we used to be like cavemen or cave people, and we used to be jacked. And then now, if you look at it, we're slowly becoming more and more docile, softer. Our lives are just more comfortable. We don't need to be as like, physically active, right?
Sure.
So as technology progresses, wouldn't that make sense that those little white aliens wouldn't need muscle? Because they're not jacked, right? They're just tiny little aliens that are skinny with big heads. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything so far that you're like, oh, that kind of not really, or is it all making sense?
Yeah, in that context, sure. Yeah, they're making sense.
Okay, cool. All right. So then there's another one. They've been here throughout. They've been here throughout time. So if you look at like historical pictures or cave drawings, they show stuff coming from the sky. I haven't delved too deep in the book of Ezekiel, from the Bible. Like I read it as more of like an arc. I didn't really like. I wasn't fine tuned reading the Bible. Like, okay, what is every story about? It's just like, okay, what happened, right? But people who like really dig into like different versions of the Bible and they're like reading different texts and stuff, they talk about the wheels of Ezekiel, which is like a flaming wheel in the sky. They're like, that sounds like an alien, a UFO craft, right? So, so with that in mind, if these things have been here, if you've figured out time travel in one part of time, it means that any point in time you can go back.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you've, you know, it's maybe they haven't been here throughout time. Maybe they've just jumped to those pieces of time. Because you know, people are like, oh, they've been here for thousands of years, and like, where are their bases or whatever? Maybe it's like there is no base. It's more like they've just jumped back to those pivotal moments.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Making sense? Okay. The other thing is a lot of cultures around the world, they elongate their heads like these aliens. So they'll like, in the Maya culture, they'll squeeze you've seen those, right?
Yeah.
Those like tribes people, they'll like squeeze the skull so that it becomes longer. It's like, where did you learn how to do that? Why are you trying to copy that? It's like, yeah, because you probably saw an elongated alien head and you're like, let me just copy that. Make sense? I have a few more. So I picked up this other book. It hasn't arrived yet, but they were saying like spirituality could be linked to this UFO phenomenon. So what if Jesus wasn't human? Well, because they're all humans, so yes. But what if he's a time traveler? And when they're saying like he's healing the sick, right? Maybe it's just technology that he had,
right?
You know, there's also this encounter of this person that was deaf for their whole life, and then they called an alien, and then an alien came, and then the alien healed their hearing, and then they could hear from now on. It's like maybe it's just technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What else? Okay, and then I guess. Oh, all right. Here we go. The last thing is a lot of these have to do with like sexual encounters. So like, they'll like anal probe, or like they'll take like semen samples or stuff like that, and some cases they even slept with alien. Okay. So why are they all like sexual in reference? What they theorize is, if you look at the way we've been affecting our biology, we're going to hit a point in time when we cannot reproduce anymore. Like infertility is at a high rise right now, right? And what if it keeps on this trend? So maybe they just hit this point where they're like, they've already created like time travel technology, but they're like, we're having a hard time trying to reproduce. Sort of like Children of Men, I think it was. Remember that movie where like, right? So what if they're jumping back in time trying to figure out how to like solve this issue?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people that have been inducted or like brought onto the craft, they've been like bathed before going on. And what the author was saying in an interview was that maybe it's like when you go to a different country and then you don't want the germs to be on you, or like maybe it's a dead virus, you don't want the germ to come back, you know? Like polio, we've already cured polio. So like, why would you want to risk having polio come back?
Sure.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. Just like sterilize them. Yeah. Okay. So with all those things, what do you think? Do you think it's more likely now that they are coming from a different planet and just observing us? Or if you've created time travel in the future, you can like, if you've created it once, it makes it that any time frame is able for you to jump into. Right?
Okay.
So that explains why it's been here throughout time.
Sure.
So which one logically makes more sense to you?
I mean, they're both. We don't know, right? We don't really know which is true.
100%. But like, what is your heart telling you?
What's my heart telling me? But there's a story. The Euro study also mentioned about that the Grish guy, or the other person that was talking about like how you can call on the aliens and stuff.
Oh yeah, Stephen Greer.
So what about that?
Stephen Greer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, Dr. Stephen Greer. So okay, so no, that actually that's a great point. That's even better. So how you can call upon the aliens. That's actually where the healing thing happened. They called upon the aliens, and the dude got his hearing healed. That actually makes way more sense, okay? Because if we can figure out consciously how to, okay, for all we know, we are the only beings that have conscious interaction in our mind.
Okay.
Like Athena has it, but not to the level we have it, right? So why is it that all spiritual texts talk about meditation as a means to like quiet the mind? And then what Stephen Greer is using meditation for is once you've quieted the mind, you can contact other minds. Okay. Mm-hmm. But you would probably have to have a mind that's similar to your own. So that actually fits more with this theory. If they're from the future, maybe he's not seeing a distant planet. Maybe he's seeing a future planet. Because he said in his thing, he's like, they're aliens on a planet that's more evolved than us. But it's like, maybe you're seeing our planet in a future timeline.
Right.
Because like we said on the last podcast, with the internet, you're able to like delve into this stuff now. You would have not known about meditation before. You would have not known about like intuition before. You would have not known about like spirituality before. But now you just Google it, just read it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
People are sharing information. Like I like yesterday, I posted a meditation video. It was like, this is the best one I've found. And I'm like, just stop with all the other tricks. Like, this is the most effective one. Why would you waste your time? Like, I've already done the work of trying different breathwork techniques. I'm like, well, they kind of work, but this one works the best. So it's like, you kind of just speed the evolution along. Imagine if everyone started from where I am and like went forward instead of being like, let me waste my time with all these other ones like I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like it's speeding up our spiritual evolution.
You're right. Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
So maybe your conscious interaction is not okay. This actually goes into the next topic, which makes total sense too. I'm glad you brought this up. So maybe our conscious interaction is not like what he's doing, like meditating in order to contact them. Maybe he's like transcending time. Okay, get ready for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about intuition now. So light. So what they even described in the book about how time travel works is like light is pushing forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's like a past light cone and there's a future light cone. And light is how we determine time. The faster you move at the speed of light, the slower your time becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we know that there's a direct correlation between time and light. So if they figured out a way to bend light in a way, then they could technically time travel because they're just jumping to a different light cone. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Like logic, okay. We don't know how it's done.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the science, I can't explain the science, but it makes sense logically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So, to go back to yoga, I think it was a few podcasts ago, Prakriti and Prashua. Right? Prakriti is nature. That's time. That's light cones moving forward. Prashua is your soul, your conscious awareness. That's independent of time. Okay. So there was one time that me and Tara were this is intuition now. We're talking about intuition.
Sure.
And this is going to relate back to aliens. So, and you're talking about like conscious contacting. So there was one time and I was hanging out with Tara and I was like, if there's only one moment, then we're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is only this one moment. So like this moment, that's soon enough we're going to be dead. We're just experiencing the present moment through our mind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like if you meditate, this is so obvious because you're in deep meditation when you like set a timer and you're like, oh dude, it's been an hour. It felt like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Because time is irrelevant to your conscious awareness.
Sure. Yeah.
Making sense? Okay, so if that is true, does that hold true for emotions? Okay. So if future me is a marketer,
mm-hmm.
okay, right now, and I love my job, I love marketing, and I also love martial arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Current me.
Yeah.
Calling it future me. So then what if past me, like as a child, because I don't know why I like martial arts. I don't know why I like marketing, right? But I was drawn to those things.
Mm-hmm.
So what if it's like future you has already played out this time, and remember when I said, what does your heart tell you? Because the heart is intuition. It's like, what are you being drawn to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, but why does that happen? So it's like chicken and egg. Is it like, did I become a marketer and a martial artist because I like those things? I don't even know why I like those things. Or was it being drawn to those things because future me is happy where I am? And it was trying to call past me like, dude, if you follow this path, you'll be happy. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why people are like, just follow your heart, because they're like, your heart will lead you to happiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, there's all these different timelines, right? And with these different timelines, if you want to end up at the happiest timeline, you have to follow your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Yeah.
So I think intuition, and I wrote about this so many years ago because it just like hit me, and it didn't come back until I was like reading into aliens. But there's an article I wrote called "Whispers from Your Future Self,"
Mm-hmm.
like listening to your intuition. And then in that article, I was like, I think that your intuition is your future you trying to tell current you what to do. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But if that's true, that's why conscious calling of these aliens works. Because it's like, if your conscious awareness is independent of time, you can access emotions, feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can
Because when you
basically
silence the mind, you can like
tap into anywhere.
Whereas,
is that what you're trying to say?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And like when people are like, I don't know how to follow my intuition, right? So a lot of like all kids have intuition. Like we're all born with it.
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
Right. It's like your inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's interesting. Like Tara taught. Oh, this is like public knowledge, so it's fine because she posted about it. So Tara taught a class on intuition. We'd been talking about it through the whole week, and I was like, I think it's really this, blah blah. Blah. And then it's in her mom and daughter group. The kids were like, I don't know what that is, right? And she was like, well, draw what you think it feels like. And then all the kids were like, oh my god, yeah, this is what it is. Like I can hear my inner voice, right? My inner me, right? And then the moms, she was like, oh, I'm just teaching kids, whatever, right? It was the moms who had the most profound effect. They're like, I forgot about intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how many people lost that voice? And then I'm watching freaking Demon Slayer, bro, and they talk about it there too. Demon Slayer's all about breath work and intuition. I'm like, yeah, because they're linked. Breath work, meditation, and intuition. That's what Demon Slayer's about. I had no idea. I was like, sure, I'll jump into it. But that's right. But why is it about those three? Because those three are interconnected. When you master your breathing, you can silence the mind. When you silence the mind, you could follow your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's what kids naturally have.
Yeah.
Right? Kids are like running around and they're just like, they're not thinking about social context. Their mind isn't cluttered.
Sure.
So like, well, I'll just do whatever my heart's telling me.
Yeah. Right. And that's the time that they have the most freedom to do so, because they don't have to think about anything else.
No bills, no nothing. Just be free, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And as you get older, your mind gets more and more cluttered. So you lose the sound of that voice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Actually, there's this scene, I haven't put it up yet, but in Demon Slayer, he's talking to this girl and she flips a coin. She's like trying to make a decision. And then he's like, why are you flipping the coin to make a decision? And she's like, well, because I don't really care about life. So I'm just going to let determinism essentially choose for me.
Right.
She's going to flip a coin. Should I do this? Yes or no? And then he says to himself, oh, her inner voice is really quiet. I was like, oh, there it is. That's like parents of now being like, I don't know what this is, but it feels familiar. Because we knew it as kids, right? And then that links into like again, like a few podcasts ago when I was talking about like the space I've created. It looks weird, right? But it's like a representation of me, like my walls and stuff, right? But it's because I've just kept listening to my intuition. My dad's like upset, right? Like, why do you always have to do everything right away? Why do I have to buy this? It's like, because my call is so strong. And I just kept listening to the call, you know? Like, everyone's like, don't switch into marketing. My parents were pissed because I switched twice, right? Like, I went to computer science, then I did networking, and then I went to marketing.
Sure. Yeah.
But I was like, this isn't it. I was like, this isn't it. This isn't it. There it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how many people just like this isn't it, but I'm gonna do it anyways. You know,
Sure. Yeah. Very
right?
likely.
And then you
Yeah.
build your life around, right? And then you build your life around this isn't it, but I'll do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And your whole life is this isn't it, but I'll do it anyways. Whereas other people, and they're like, dude, what? How do you have this life? Oh, it's so sick. It's like, yeah, I just kept doing the thing I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like um, I never compromised on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then imagine if everyone just didn't compromise. You just have like a bunch of people. Like it's like the UBI thing, right? If we all just had money, it's like, what do you really want to do? What do you really want to do, bro? Just go do that.
Right.
You know?
So, yeah, maybe that's the thing, right? Because at that time, we like as kids, you know what you want to do
Bro, I know.
because you don't really have anything else
But
to
you
think
just
about, right?
and,
So you
and
just
then
do what you want to
your
do.
parents are like, right? But then your parents are like, no, do this. No, that'll get you nowhere. Do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like LeBron James, right? Amazing basketball player. As a kid, he's like, dude, I'm just gonna hoop all day. And then you're one of those lucky people that his parents that are like, I'll support this dream. Like his parents could have been like, that'll get you nowhere. Just become an accountant.
Right.
Then you'll have a LeBron James as an accountant that wished he was a basketball player. But then in an alternate timeline, he's a successful basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
But he never achieved that timeline because he kept listening to other people instead of himself.
Right.
Mind blow, right?
Yeah, in some ways, sure. There are, let's say, let's say there was someone just like LeBron's parents, but they didn't make it.
Yeah, totally. But okay, yes. Okay. This is One Piece philosophy here. Damn, this light is so bad. Okay, this is One Piece philosophy here. All right, and this is why I love One Piece. It doesn't matter what your dream is, or if you achieve the dream. The sheer fact of you going for the dream is the point of the dream. Would you rather? Actually, even freaking Jim Carrey said this when his dad was an accountant, but his dad always wanted to be a comedian. But then his dad got laid off. So he's like, so you lived a whole life that you didn't want and you failed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you could have tried and still failed. At the end of the day, both of you just failed.
Right.
But one of you will be like, at least I did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is that it links back to my black belts? It's like, I don't teach martial arts all day, every day anymore. Right? I used to, but that failed. Because I was like, oh, it's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like now it's like I had done that. And I could tap into that anytime I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know that nunchuck video?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see me doing the nunchuck video? Okay, fun fact. I hadn't done that in like years. I hadn't touched nunchucks in like years. Like to that level. Maybe I posted like a year ago or something. I didn't touch it in a long time. But it just came back. And I was like, oh, let me make this harder on myself. Let me do it on a balance beam. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, my body knows how to do this. All right, cool. Let's see how far I can push it.
Right.
And then I just kept, that's why like the whole point of that thing is like push your set point. Cause like set points are like, once you hit that level, you'll never go down.
Yeah. It's like riding a bicycle, right?
And I proved it.
Like when are we
not
gonna...
riding a bike, bro? You're never not going to ride a bike. You're never not going to know how to ride a bike. And that's why when I post it and then people are like, oh, it's crazy. But it's like, no, I hadn't done that before. I just tried it. Actually, what sparked it was Huron Gracie. He did this crazy video of him like standing on a medicine ball. And like he posted like, I hadn't done this in so many years, but like I'm still able to do it. Right. And I was like, oh, I wonder what I can do. You know what I mean? But right.
Yeah,
but it's the same thing. It's like set points. Anyways, so what do you think about the intuition thing? It makes a lot of sense, right? So now linking back to aliens, if time is independent from that feeling of like love, that like call, what is your heart saying? Then technically, that's what conscious jumping is. We can like jump to a different, we don't know how to do it yet, but like technically I can call a moment independent of time because emotion is independent of time. You know who else has said that? Interstellar, Christopher Nolan. I swear he knows about aliens, bro. If you watch Interstellar, remember he's like, love is the only thing that transcends time?
Yes.
I never understood it.
Yeah. He said that, yeah.
I never understood it. But it makes total sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the only thing, it's actually mind blow. Dude, I was in yoga one time when I was doing my YTT training, and I had all these revelations just kept coming out because I was like, everything was clicking. And then we were like having this debrief. Basically, we're going around the circle. What do you all feel? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, time, our mind is our ability to travel through time. Everyone looked at me crazy. What the hell is this guy talking about travel through time?
Right.
You know? And I was like, no. Like, think about it. You can only travel to the past and future through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But our body's stuck in the present. It's our mind that's jumping. Right?
Yeah.
So if time is directly linked to your mind, but then you learn how to quiet your mind through meditation, then maybe you're just moving through emotion, or like, I don't want to call it emotion because it's not emotion. It's like a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so yesterday I was trying to talk to Tara about this exact thing, but I was like, I'm going to call it a sensation because it's like, I can't call it love because it's not really love. It's a sensation, you know? Like, knowing what the right thing to do is a sensation. Knowing what you love is a sensation.
Okay.
Knowing love, right? Okay. So this came about because I was like, a lot of people don't even know what they like to do. So what I do is I'm like, what do you like to do to people, right? And a lot of, I don't know. But then you can hear it and you're like, oh, go do that. Right? Because I know what that feeling, I know what that sensation is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can practice that sensation through something you love, then you can spread that sensation to other things. For example, do you remember that story? I'll use this story instead of many other stories that I have. Remember that story of that person that's like, I hate this job, I hate this person, blah, 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 everything sucks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then all of a sudden they started talking about like gardening. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, there you are. Like, I was like, oh, okay, this is a boring talk where we were like hiking through the woods. And then they started talking about like different plants and how those plants like interact with other plants and like how bees interact with that system. And I'm like, oh, that's what you love. But that person hadn't realized it. They don't know that that's the feeling they're searching for. They're just like, they got so excited they couldn't stop telling me about nature. I was like, so why are you doing this job that you hate? But then like, look at that's you, bro. Like, if you could be that person all the time, your life would be amazing. Right? Instead of like every time I talk to them, it's just like this
negativity.
Sucks. You're like, right? You're like, bro, just go find that thing, bro. You know? So that's my trick. I'm like, what do you like to do? And most people are like, I don't know what I like to do. So then I start trying things with them. Like, I'm like, oh, you ever thought of this? Oh, do you like this? Blah, blah, blah. And then once I hear it, I'm like, our whole conversation is all about that. Because then you're going to feel that sensation, right? But the trick here is that sensation. Once you've mastered the feeling, you're like, I know what that feels like. It's like meditation. I can jump into meditation at any moment now because I'm like, I know what that feels like, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So like with the love thing, if you've done things you love, then you know what that feels like. And then you could be like, you can use that as a marker for like every other decision. You're like, hey, should I go left or right? You're like, what does that feeling tell me?
Right.
Okay, I'll go here. You know? And then you base your entire life off of that feeling. Right? Whereas I came at it from the other way, which is like, freaking my dad's like, it's like, you're impatient. I'm like, I'm not impatient. I just don't know what this is.
Right.
You know? Because most people don't get it. They're like, sit down, do this. Go like learn, do this thing. Some people just don't operate that way. And then you're gonna have unhappy people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep. That's true.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, this
last thing about
I'll just say like the
Okay,
system doesn't work for everyone. Right. It's not a
maybe in the social system?
Yeah. It is a way to secure a job, but doesn't mean that you're gonna be happy with the job, right?
Yeah. But then the question is, are you living to survive or surviving to live?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Is the
does that make sense? Are you working?
yeah working?
Are
It's the
you
same.
working?
Yeah.
Are you working to live or living to work? You know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
your job or is it like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um,
I think the
I actually
question.
got
I think.
this
I think the
recently.
question with that
Yeah.
would be just like, what's the point of living if you're not doing something that you like? Right. That's the
Yeah,
that's
totally.
the crutch of it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Um, and also, I got this recently, which I thought was hilarious. Um, somebody was like, dude, is BJ rich? And I'm like, what? do, do you know my bank account, bro? Like, no.
Mm.
It's like, but it's like, it's because of the way I live my life. I'm not afraid to live life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know we're going to die, bro. This is
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
temporal.
Right.
Play the game while you have the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other people like, you know what I mean? Like that fear of, that's why I think it's so funny. It's like these people asking that question, you make way more money than me. You have so much more in the bank than me.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a deep savings.
Yeah.
But why are you thinking I'm rich? No, I'm rich in life, whereas you're not rich in life. And that's why you think I'm rich.
Yeah.
It's like, how could you just go here? How could you just do this? It's like, yeah, because I saw it and I was like, is there an opening to do that? All right, let's go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But then you have to like weigh the cost, right? It's like, there's a reason why I don't have kids, bro. That's just money I gotta spend on that thing, or like
Right.
time
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't have to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a trade off, you know? Yeah. I mean, if you want kids, like totally, like, but that's you. That's your inner call. I don't have the inner call.
Right.
I'd rather just have fun and then die, you know? Because I know I'm gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, that's so dark. Okay, ready for this? Check this out. All right. Is intuition what people are mistaking for God? Christian people.
Intuition mistaken
I heard
people for
this.
God. Like, okay.
Check this out, bro. This is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was listening to this person talk about like their like religion, their Christianness, right? They're like, I hear God all around. I'm like, tough, bro. I don't hear God all around, right? And like,
what does she mean by that?
Voice.
Okay.
Right. Check this out. Oh, it's like God told me to go this way. God's telling me to do this thing.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I hear those voices too. But for me, it's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
But you're calling it God. But are we talking about the same thing? It's like infinity. You can't comprehend infinity, so we call it God. Like in mathematics, you're just like, it's just an asymptote, right? It's infinitely pointing towards that line, but it'll never hit that line, right? So we call it an asymptote. They call it God.
Mm-hmm.
Or determinism, right? You and I both believe strongly in determinism.
Yeah.
Right? If you could just mathematically plot everything out, you'd figure it out, right? But they call that God, God's will,
Mm-hmm.
right? God has a plan for me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's just like how that worked out, bro. It's like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what if they're just mistaking this sensation of intuition that we just discussed for God? And they built a whole religion off that.
I can see that. Yeah.
It makes total sense because when you're describing it, I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say too, bro.
But I think
we're literally talking about the same thing.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, since they've labeled it as God, if someone writes about God, then you think that's your God. You know what I mean? That's not.
Yeah, no, totally.
For sure. Either you have to separate the religion, because a lot of people do that now, which is separated from the religion. And this is just I can speak to God, or like God speaks to me.
Yeah. Yes. Einstein said that the religion of the future is going to be Buddhism. And then my mom was like, oh, why are you going to worship a Buddha? You could just worship Jesus, right? I was like, okay, we're not really talking, like Buddhism is a philosophy. We don't actually worship Siddhartha. Some people do. They've turned him into a god. But if you look at Siddhartha's story, he's like, bro, don't worship me. Like, go do your own thing, right? Yeah. And the reason why Einstein said that is because all of the practices that the Buddha had taught, which is like meditation, listen to intuition, all that stuff, breath work, right? Those are all like those are all outside of mind, and
Mm-hmm.
your mind is creating religion.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind's creating the story of freaking like Jesus. He might have been real. I don't know. He might have been an alien. But like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like we deify something else when it's like it's really just you talking, bro.
Right.
When you're like, I hear God. It's like, no, no, no. You're hearing your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then maybe that's what it is. It's like when you're like following your intuition, you're following God's will. But if you're not following your intuition, you're following the devil's will. And that's why they've just labeled it God and the devil. You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, I guess it
Don't
would
kill this
make more
person,
sense. Yeah, to understand a story
right?
with that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't kill this person. Okay, God's telling me don't kill them. Oh, you should kill them. The devil's telling me to kill them. Which are you gonna pick, bro? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the positive intuition aspects are God. The negative intuition aspects are the devil. When you put it like that, it actually makes sense. We can
Yeah,
all
yeah,
agree with
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, I can agree with that,
those
bro.
things
Like,
make
yeah,
sense, but then within their own story, like the whole who persuaded us to go eat the tree of knowledge, right?
the devil.
Yeah,
He did though.
I know, but is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Yeah. What does your intuition tell you, bro? No, but for real though, like if because I can't because there's no universally right or wrong. There's just like,
Right.
oh, this light is so bad. There's only like levels of like no, there's only intuition that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is like if you have to kill that person, this sounds so negative, right? But if you have to kill this person, you kind of got to go do it. Intuition, right? Like, let's say, all right, thou shalt not kill. This dude comes in your house, holds all of your family hostage, is about to kill them. You're not going to kill them because thou shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
No, sometimes you got to kill things, bro. We kill spiders, kill plants, we kill animals. Death is just a part of life. We've just negatively associated death because we want to be altruistic, which is not real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, like, your intuition might tell you to kill something, but, you know, but somebody else's intuition might be like, hey, I got to stop you from killing that thing.
Mm.
So we're just all battling, you know, our desires. Does it make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with that all being said, where are you on the alien thing now?
That is it an alien or is it us from the future? That's the main question.
Is it us? Is it us from the future? Yeah, that's the
I think,
main
as you
question,
said the
bro.
earlier point, and I think I've mentioned that too. We're like, no one. Well, I don't say no one, but the like Elon Musk and stuff. They haven't seen the aliens. Well, that's what they're saying.
Exactly. And Elon's like, no, trust me, I will tweet about it. He's like, I will put it up. If I see it, I'm going to tell you guys. So I'm like, okay, I trust you, bro. I trust you. And you know what he said too? He's like, science is built off of discoveries. If you've discovered an alien race, you're going to be the most famous and rich person on earth.
Yeah.
So you really don't think we're all trying our hardest to find extraterrestrial life?
Yeah. They are. Yeah.
Time travelers makes the most sense. Because all right, if you're listening to this, you're like, dude, time travelers what? Okay, first you have to admit there are UAPs. Every freaking country that has studied this, they're like, we don't have this technology. Okay. So what are they?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you and I both are. We acknowledge UAPs are real.
Yeah.
The government said it, bro. Like, you see all these encounters all the time. So now the next step is like, what is the storyline here? What is going on? And it's either extraterrestrial beings. All right, so there's three theories: extraterrestrial, multidimensional, or time travelers. Multidimensional is like they
But
live in a
can
different
we live in a world where
timeline.
is it possible to have both?
All of them? No, you could. Yeah, theoretically, yeah, you could have all of them. But why are there thousands of thousands of military sightings and radar of like Like not thousands, not just thousands of sightings, thousands of crafts.
Right.
What the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
You have thousands of crafts and you see them daily and you have no idea what that is? Okay, something's going on.
Right.
Maybe we're in a simulation. That could be it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they're just like, remember we said that before? It's like the cursor. These crafts are just cursors fixing the map.
Right.
Remember Forge in Halo?
Yeah, no. I think Elon talked about that recently too, about simulation again. But I don't know. They're saying, he was saying that in a simulation, but they're not necessarily involving themselves in the simulation. Like when we run simulations, that's what he was trying to imply with the SpaceX. We run these rocket simulations, but we don't touch the simulation as it's running. We want to see what happens.
Ooh, that's cool. So maybe they're just observing. So maybe we are in a simulation. They're just observing the outcome.
Maybe.
But what would you be simulating? Climate change?
No, we don't know. We don't know what they're simulating. Yeah. You run a simulation to see what happens. But what is they're looking for? We don't know that.
But then who's running the simulation? It has to be future us.
Yeah, and then why maybe then eventually we would generate our own simulation for to see what happens in the other world.
It's like what do you call that? It's like simulations on simulations.
Yeah.
They've created a simulation, then we create a simulation. Oh, it's like a video game, bro.
Yeah.
Like in a video game, you've created a world. I think. Did we talk about this before?
I think so. Mind blow. It sounds familiar. I think we did a little bit.
We have like just over like 16 minutes before I have to really jump, so we can like delve into this idea. When you play a video game, let's say you're playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay. You know you're playing Pokemon. Ash Ketchum doesn't know you're playing Ash Ketchum. No. He thinks that he's just playing Pokemon. He thinks he's in a Pokemon world.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine taking Ash Ketchum from that world and being like, actually, this is the real world.
Right. Yeah.
So if we can create consciousness, I don't know if it's consciousness. If we can create AI, a problem-solving tool, if we can create something that can problem solve, right, then it doesn't know. If we can create something that's self-aware, let's say, like Ash Ketchum in the video game knows he's Ash Ketchum,
mm-hmm.
right? So did we just create a simulation that they think is real? And it goes back to the cursors thing. Like, they're like, what are all these UAPs? It's like, it's literally just my marker that's telling you where to go, Ash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like Master Chief when you're playing the video game. You're like, for all... Actually, you ever see the movie Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Probably did.
So he's in a movie.
Remember.
Yeah, it's an old school movie. It's like one of the best. Like, it's probably actually not one of the best. Probably, like, as a kid, I loved it. So basically, he's in a movie, and he gets pulled from the movie, but he thinks he's still the Last Action Hero guy.
Okay,
so he's trying to save the world.
Right.
But the kid's like, no, I pulled you out of the movie. Right? So maybe that's like us. It's like we're running this world, this life that we think is real, but in reality, we're a part of someone else's thing. And then we're a part of someone else's thing. Because you said, like, eventually we'll create our own simulation. We've already done that with video games.
Yeah.
And even movies, technically.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So maybe it's just Sims on Sims. It's like we're just one Sim in a myriad of Sims.
Possible. Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't explain the abductions. So, like, let's say there was no abductions, no encounters. We just saw these things in the sky. Then I would be like, that actually makes way more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I can't figure out the abduction thing. Like, why would you abduct and take these like?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to answer that kind of thing.
But that's why I go to like the future us theory.
Yeah.
Like it being like future us versus simulation. I'm still in future us because if it's a simulation, you don't interact with the Sims. But we are interacting with UFOs.
Yeah, can you? can in the future sims of us like go back in time in their own simulation?
Like, what do you mean?
Just within the
Oh
same
my God. Wait,
within the
hold
same
up.
in
Hold
simulation
up.
structure.
Okay. Actually, we have enough time. Okay, dude, this is mind blowing. I forgot to mention this. So remember the whole future self thing with the intuition?
Mm-hmm.
Because you just sparked my memory. So what he's theorizing, I don't know if this is true, but it would make sense that we're running a a future battle played out here. So the future us time travelers are trying to push life in one direction, and then the other future time travelers, because like once you've created,
Oh yeah.
you
Okay.
can have like
Yeah.
multiple,
But I've
right?
seen stories of this.
Or right, and it actually could make sense. It's like because he's like, why do you have uh like what's going on in the world, the negativity? Why can't we all just work towards peace? It's because both sides are trying to play both sides, and it's like manifesting in our present timeline.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're having wars and stuff, because like the future people want to push it in this direction, and then the other future people want to push it in this direction. So it's like
So maybe we
time
still have the
battle.
same. We still have the same situation as we do now, in the sense that we've got America, we've got Russia,
Yes,
like that
except the
kind of
new weapon
thinking.
is time.
Sure.
Exactly. But the new weapon is time.
Mm.
So it's like in the future, maybe like in their timeline, America wins, and in another timeline, China wins.
Yeah.
So now they're both battling with like, do this, do this, do this. But you know who also talked about that? Tenet. Remember, he's like, it's the detritus of a coming war. And I had to
Oh
Google
yeah.
detritus because I've never heard this word. It's like the remnants of a future war, and that's what they kept seeing. Right? They're like, what are these? What are these like reverse timed
Mm-hmm.
items? Right? I swear Christopher Nolan knows, bro, or he's at least super tapped in, right? Because he's like, why would you
True.
make a movie about
Mm.
time? You know, that's like,
Yeah, his movies after Batman have been very because of the success of Batman. Now he's trusted to do all these very intricate stories that I don't see anybody
yes,
doing anything like this. It's
yes,
very very different
yes.
stuff.
And you know what's and you know what's crazy? Tenet, Interstellar, and Oppenheimer are all about aliens.
Mm.
We just don't know that it's like the hidden gem of those things.
Right.
Like Tenet is like the future alien theory, but same with Interstellar is the future alien theory. But then where did this all start? Oppenheimer, World War II with atom bomb. Because like if you look into the UAP stuff,
Right.
they're saying that they created Los Alamos as a means to like study alien stuff
Mm.
because that's where it was captured. Like that's where it was found.
Right.
Crashed. Right.
Mm.
Right. And remember, I didn't even know. If you look at that whole podcast, you're like, you had watched Oppenheimer first, and then you're like, there was this place I can't remember, but you remind me is like Los something, and I was like Los Alamos, and that's because that's where Bob Lazar's from.
Right.
Like Bob Lazar, the UFO
Mm-hmm.
like whistleblower, he worked at Los Alamos. So it's like these are all tied together. Christopher Nolan's trying to tell us something, bro. Dude, what if Christopher Nolan's one of those past people playing out in this current timeline, trying to help us?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like using media.
Sure. Yeah.
Dude,
Which
this
is
so
the
trippy.
easiest way to capture people. Yeah. Or
Which is, yes, influence people.
yeah.
Oh, dude, this is so trippy. Tom DeLonge said that. He's like, the reason why he started To the Stars Academy is because he's like, you have to get the masses. Like,
Sure.
you have to educate the masses.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing it through anime as well. Because, like, anime, why are you teaching me so many deep lessons? Like, Demon Slayer, you think it's about friggin', like, my dad's, my dad's so funny. Not even my dad, just, like, everyone. So, like, my dad was like, my sister was watching One Piece, and my dad was like, "Oh, I used to watch that as a kid," and I was like, "What?" he's like, "No, we had some like ranger thing or something." Like he named something. I'm like, "No, it's different. It's different, Dad. It's not cartoons. It's like anime. It's different." And this other guy like comments on my Facebook post. He's like, "I never understood anime, but then he sent me this video of like a potato killing himself." I'm like, "That's not anime. Like,
Okay.
sure, the art style is, but like, you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah.
And like, so like, if you look at the way people are programmed, it's through entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So what if like this is the battle we're all fighting? An unconscious battle, because the dude who wrote the book, the Identify Flying Objects, he said in his interview, I don't know why, and this is what sparked it. This is what made me remember the whole thing. He was like, I don't know why I'm studying this thing, but I'm called to study it. And he's like, I feel like a lot of people who are in this thing, they don't know why they're called to study this thing, but they know from an early age, like, this is what you should be studying.
Mm-hmm.
He started off with physics, and then he's like, that's not right. And then he went to anthropology and biology. And then he wrote this book on aliens.
Right.
After the UAP stuff had come out,
Mm-hmm.
he was not a believer in aliens. It wasn't until the 2017 Tic Tac. And then he's like,
okay.
oh, I bet it's just this. Right? But he's like, oh, the government's acknowledging it's real. We have to look into this.
Mm-hmm.
So he used his biology and anthropology background to explain that it's us from the future. But he knew from an early age that it must be us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
like, what are these things that are calling us? You know,
Mm.
like literally future us are trying to communicate back to younger us and pull ourselves in a specific direction.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the war that's being waged. And
Yeah.
he said like these
temporal war
right
that we're in. Yeah.
That's what he was saying, bro. The writer of this book, and it made total sense. He's like, it's kind of creepy to think about it, but they're walking amongst us all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know what you mean, not literally, but through our psyche.
Yeah. Right.
It's making the most sense. It links everything I've studied.
Yeah, and war isn't like something out of our nature. It's part of our nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't we just run a war with our new weapon, which is time?
Mm-hmm.
It makes total sense, right?
Right.
And you know what's crazy too? Tom DeLonge said,
like also like who makes those? Like who's doing the research to make those new weapons? Like I'm talking about like in the future making those temporal weapons. They're military.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. There's no altruistic like temporal, like you don't create technologies for non-war. Like war is literally the driver of innovation.
Yeah. We talk about that. Yeah.
Actually, Elon Musk, I just saw this. He was saying on Lex Friedman's podcast, he's like, people, because Lex is all about I love Lex, right? And Elon was like, maybe we need hate, but you don't know why. Like he's like, if we just deleted hate, we might be losing out on something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, interesting, because like, yeah, you don't know what love is without hate. But then it made me realize, like, because he's talking about technologies, it's like war is hate, but through war we develop innovations.
Mm-hmm.
The internet was created from war.
Yeah.
And now we use it. So it's like time travel probably was created from war.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to find like a positive way to use it. But the problem is once you've created time travel, you can jump to any time. So it's like it gets really dicey there.
Yeah,
you know
that's like, what a lot of shows that I watched, because I like these kinds of shows, right? That sci-fi and all that stuff, and those are the questions that's always been asked: how much you can change, how much, like the butterfly effect, or like what can you?
Totally. Yep.
You don't really know. Do you change the whole timeline? Do you just change, or you just create a new timeline, right?
Yes.
There's so many other questions with the time travel stuff. Yeah.
The multiverse theory of like, but what he was saying, like again, Tom DeLonge, he was saying like, if you watch like Star Wars, Marvel, they're all talking about this too. They're all telling you what's going on, you know? But like, what's fascinating is like, he said like, when you study when you study UFOs, you're gonna end up, it's like the Holy Trinity: ancient civilizations, UFOs, and spirituality. They're all interconnected. So if you study one in-depthly, you'll start going to the next, and then you'll go to the next. If you just don't stop, you know? And like you could either start from the UFO phenomenon and work your way around,
right?
Or you could work from the spirituality way, you know, but like it's all connected. And now I'm like really reading about these UFO things about like time travelers and stuff, and like watching the docs, and people think I'm crazy, but it's like no, it's real. Why is it all clicking? Like, is it just so like just so perfectly aligned? Because you're linking like meditation, intuition, ancient civilization. Like, how could they jump back in time? Why do we see UFOs throughout time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's all one. Okay, last thing, because we have 3 minutes. You know what? You know what really irks me though? Normies. It's just like, so like I won't even say who this person was or like who these people are, but they were just like, "Are you on drugs?" I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, I am, but not in this moment. I'm sober and I'm reading these."
Right.
But you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, it's just like your mind can't even entertain it. Your mind can't open up to this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like so frustrating to me.
Oh, well.
It's good because you're like, I just avoid you. I just won't talk to you then.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's just like frustrating because you're like that's really like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing when I was watching this other thing and they were saying like the development of the word conspiracy theory, like conspiracy theorist. You're like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. That was the CIA's method to discount people looking at the truth. Like when people were like looking at like how did JFK really die? They're like, well, it makes no sense, blah, blah, blah. And only years later, all these books coming out, like, actually, it doesn't make sense. But at the time, they're like, you're a conspiracy theorist. And they just started labeling people in this negative manner in order to, like, get them off the track.
Right.
You know? And that's how I feel like normies are when they say, like, we're on drugs. It's like, oh my God, it's like, it's a different version of you're a conspiracy theorist. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. Anything else? We got 1 minute left.
No, nothing else other than American Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Later this week.
Oh, yes, I'm going to Austin, Texas. Yes, so there's going to be no podcast next week. You're going away or no?
Yeah, for the weekend.
Oh, nice. Where are you going?
Looking at some tour thing. Yeah. No. I was thinking of flying, but it's a little expensive for last minute stuff. But
yeah, it is. Oh, like a tour, like a local tour? Or?
No. To I did, which I'm gonna call those places right now, which is to it's New York, Washington, Boston.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Oh, you're gonna do like a drive, like a tour bus?
Yeah. That's that plan.
Dope. All right, let me know. Sick. So then when we get back, we'll both have like things to talk about. Like, oh, I did this, you did this. That's sick. All right, so let me know about New York though, because we'll let everyone know on the podcast. Because I was like, I heard like a lot of negative things, but like Tara's family went to New York. They said it was awesome.
Oh
no, because like
what negative things?
With the poverty.
Just
It's getting kind of dicey. The racism, take the subway and stuff like that. So that's why, like, me and my sister were like, I don't know if I want to go back right now. But like Tara's family went, they said it was awesome. So like, you let me know. So if there's 2 people saying it's awesome, maybe I'll like head back.
Well, it depends maybe where you go. Like, who was saying it was negative or bad or whatever?
People on podcasts, like comedians.
Oh,
the poverty is pretty high.
It's probably true, but
you see it online.
I don't know. I don't know how often you see it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair. Yeah, totally. It's like maybe it's just my feed and like whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's exciting.
A quick thing. Because there was I think it's like a Pacific trade meeting or something that happened in California.
Yes. Is it? You know anything about that? Or do I really gotta go though? But like,
yeah, China was there, so I feel like there's China's chairman guy, Xi Jinping. Well, he's saying that I don't think that there's any kind of war. They don't want war. So
exactly. We literally talked about this, where it's like you just have economic whatever, But the only thing is, though, I don't know how the maps can be redrawn economically, because I'm talking to my cousin in the Philippines, and he's just like, they're really moving in around the Philippines. But the thing is, I asked him, like, is Philippines a proxy for America? Because he's like, there's so many U.S. bases in Philippines. So as these Chinese boats move in, it's like, I don't know like maybe that's why they had to have this meeting. They're like, bro, you're kind of encroaching in our
Yeah,
space.
it's probably there's talks like that, right? But like from like, I'm just saying from Xi Jinping's own word, was we don't want war. I think that was something like that. So,
there you go. See,
don't quote me exactly
awesome.
in that word, but he's saying it in that direction that we prefer to, because it's when you rely on trade. This is going to be
destruction.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, we just economics rules the world, bro. Let's just make a deal. That's exciting. Okay, I really have to jump, but like, yes, I did. I saw that, and like, I messaged my coworker, and I was like, "Oh, it doesn't look like we're gonna have World War III." It's like they just met, and economics rules the world, bro. Like, imagine though, if the superpower that comes out of this, all right,
well, at least, I mean, like, so cool. Like if people are saying like, "Oh, why aren't they talking?" or something, here's proof that they're talking. Okay, that's
totally. Yeah, for sure. But imagine at the end of this whole thing, you have like an agreement between China and USA, and they're like, "Let's just rule the whole world together, bro." The West,
which is probably America, what, yeah.
The East would be China, and then they're like, "Let's agree that this is how we're going to draw the map." That would be crazy.
I think he said, I have to pull it up exactly. Maybe I'll bring it up next time if I remember. But I think they don't want to change the status quo.
Why would you? We're all on top, bro. Like, there's so much development in North York right now. Chinese investment, bro. You could tell. It's just all these banks. You're like, who's buying all this, bro? Who's building it? It's foreign investment. They're like, why would we just disrupt the status quo?
Yeah,
you're totally correct. Okay, I really have to jump now. Okay, all right. Till 2 weeks. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.